Alright, welcome back y'all to another TSTerra playing Terra video. So in today's video, I'm kind of going to go over changes that have happened in Terra since I've been gone. I was going to do like a large patch note video, but that's kind of silly. I want to go over everything they've added in little bits and details, and maybe down the road I'll make like a more invested video, or I'll make separate videos, and as well as I'm going to go over what they're doing with this maintenance that's happening. I'm not going to do too much editing of this video. I'm just going to record it, add my intro, add my outro, throw the music on, and that's about it. And we're going to make this quick, and kind of curious to see how it does, because I haven't really been doing much Terra stuff. So like I said, let's get into it. The changes that have been going on in Terra. Since I've been gone, and I've played here and there are 2 raids been added to the game. So if you haven't played since I've played a long while back, 2 raids have been added, and as you can see, a lot of stuff has changed and they've added stuff to the game. Now, as you can see, the raids give a very healthy amount of gold, but it's kind of difficult to get a 10-man group unless you're already in one, depends on the area. As well as these raids, you can see drop a lot of different materials, and that's something we're going to kind of go over, is that Terra console has changed the materials and all sorts of stuff, and we'll dive into it very shortly. Just to go over the dungeon list, Bahar is back at the highest dungeon level there is. It is currently the hardest dungeon in Terra console once again. Again, you could see a lot of changes to resources. This is meant to be Crimson Killing Grounds. I don't have much information on it. I've done Killing Grounds from cons or from Menmas, and I've done maybe a bit of Crimson, like once I went in. I'm not 100% sure. Dracon's Arena Hard is still here. They brought back Gossamer's Vault Hard. They brought back AAHM, Dracon's Arena Normal, Killing Grounds Normal's been released, Velix Hold Hard has been brought back, RK9, Gossamer's Vault, and AA, along with a bunch of others in matchmaking only. Now, when looking at these dungeons, you can see there's new resources called Enchanting Dust. So they basically gotten rid of all the resources in the game, like Ecto, the Oreos, Kaya's Essence, Kaya's Energy. All of that stuff has been replaced with this Enchanting Dust. And as you go up further, you'll see there's Enchanting for, you know, Heroic Oath. I think Stormcry's still in the game. Heroic Oath, Kaya's, and Annihilation Gear. For whatever reason, console decided to make Annihilation Gear after Kaya's gear. Why, I don't know. We'll get into that in a bit and just go over it, because Kaya's gear has also came out. But this is basically the dungeon rotation that's currently in Terra console. And I want to bring that up because we're going to go over some changes in the patch notes that's happening to these 2 dungeons. Actually, instead of showing the patch notes, basically they're decreasing the HP of both the Killing Grounds, and let me just pull it up. Crimson Killing Grounds is having its HP reduced. They're removing the Kaya's Enchanting Dust and only having it drop Annihilation Enchanting Dust, and they're increasing the Vanguard to drop 2 Annihilation Cores instead of 1. And then Dracon's Hard is also having the HP reduced. Same thing with Enchanting Dust, and the damage from the pattern, the HP pattern floor, I'm assuming it's this big spin pattern they're referring to. The patch notes are really just not clear, is getting reduced by 50%. Whichever mech they're talking about, they're reducing by 50%. The other thing to go over that y'all might be confused with is the fluorite. The fluorites are kind of neat. in the fact that if we go over to the fluorite, and I'll go, it's actually over here, it's in a weird spot. When we go into fluorite, you can convert them, the gold ones, into 5 or 55 of these guys. Converting backwards is not the best because you lose about half, but if you have green, you could convert them up to blue if you have 10, or 100 into yellow. And if you have blues, you could take 10 of them and go into the yellow. So the fluorite Niviate is basically the new way to enchant your gear, is with all the Niviates enchanting dust, and they kind of changed that around to try and make gear more easy to enchant. It's still the same song and dance. I'm going to be honest with you, nothing has changed. It's just that they removed all of the original resources and changed it to that. As you can see with my crystals have also had a change. You can increase your crystals with either using, they're called the, I don't think I have any on me. We can go over to here to see them. You can get the accessory Niviate stones, which will give you a random accessory Niviate. Even if you use 3 of the same, you get a random one, or you can use the Secession accessory Niviate stone. If you complete the hard mode of the raid, you're guaranteed 1 plus a lot drop, as well as if you get, complete the normal version of the raid, some of them drop, but you're not guaranteed to get them. And so that is how we get the new accessory Niviates, is by those, which you can also get them from Bahar, and some other places drop the just regular ones where it's a random chance. So that is one of the major changes. Runes are also a change. So your weapon crystals and your armor crystals, now you can have runes, which are the same thing as, your poisedly bitter crystals and so on and so forth, except for now you can level them and enchant them up to, I believe, +5, and the stats are randomized, so you can, I actually have one leveled that's not equipped that I can show. Gave me a random stat. Eventually you can re-roll these stats, you can refine to enchant them. I haven't been able to re-roll one because I just don't have enough resources to do so. But basically, again, same thing, grind out, dismantle, get more, yada yada yada. Another major change I want to go over is I mentioned the dungeon cores. The dungeon cores are a really nice addition to this game. That if we come over to Highwatch, and you'll see these 4 people have been added, you can come over here and exchange the easy beginner dungeons, and for, gold, you can get, armors, you can get your fluorite, and you can get more dust if you need it, whatever. Or if you get 10 of these, you can upgrade to the dungeon core. And we'll go through, again, a higher amount of gold. You can get some enchanting training books, or ultimate training books, some mounts. Again, dust and fluorite, which is pretty nice. If we go to the Kaios, which is the next dungeon, they got a healthy amount of Sigma resources, as well as, of course, just the other stuff, and a healthy amount of gold that can be got. And then, of course, when you run Annihilation stuff, you can get your card crates, which I think it's actually really nice that they finally added card crates to this section. As well as you can get fluorite Niviate stones, you could get training books if you need it. And again, this is a pretty nice way of getting gold that, well, you can get 45k gold. So basically, if you just run Bahar, not only does Bahar give you 30k, it gives you 4 dungeon core annihilations. So if you wanted to, you make sure you get your 20 a week. Basically, one Bahar run gives you about 120k gold. Or you can exchange those cores for whatever else you want. So that's kind of like some of the major changes that have happened. If you haven't played it in a very, very long time, you would know that, or you might not know that there are now these stones, which again, these just drop from dungeons, and as you get more of them, you get, you know, 3 level 1s, you synthesize them, you know, up to a 2, a 3, all the way up to 10, and your synthesis is random. Again, I don't know if I ever covered a video on these, but I kind of quit when these came out. I was like interested in, but they're randomized. If you logged in a while back, you could get level 7 event ones. You can't do much with these besides just equip them and use them, and that's honestly what I've been using, because you don't need too much gear. And that's kind of it. There's been a few other changes. There's etchings that now go up to a ridiculous amount, but they're randomized, and the rolls are just, I honestly don't want to get into. If people really want me to make a video, I can. Going over like when you go to make a rune, just to kind of give ideas of what you're gonna look for. This is the accessory nivets. You need the mysterious powders used to make the crystal, or used to make the random etchings, and then rune stones, and all of this stuff is what's used to make your runes. And you need 1 rune stone, and then it would be any, what are they called? I forget. I apologize. I'm kind of going at this willy-nilly. You need any, I can't see it because it's equipped, any just Niviet, you know, leveled up Niviet. Again, I highly suggest doing ones that are not on your main character. In other words, like, let's say you have a grievingly wrathful crystal, or 3 of those. Use those, because they're not, even if you use 3 poison leaves, you're not guaranteed to get a poison leaf back. As you saw, dungeons drop rune crates. I think the only dungeon, I think these guys drop it. You know, those rune crates, saw it somewhere. The rune crates are really nice, because when you get them, you're guaranteed a random rune. There we go. The small array drops it. You know, those are really nice, and I've noticed them, they do drop quite a bit from a lot of dungeons. The other thing is bracelets can also level up now to 15. Bracelet enchanting is more gross than ever. The first one, going up to the suppressed gal bracelet, is a free enchant as long as you have the material. But after that, it's a 10% chance, and I put like 6 of these to get +1, and it just didn't go. And it's a 10% chance, and it doesn't increase, and it's dog water, it's trash. So if you want to waste your resources, go ahead, try to get enchants. If you don't, I don't blame you. Honestly, the increase is kind of like, it's not really that much, probably, and it can go up to 15, so good luck. I want to say that's everything besides annihilation gear has been added. It's basically the same thing as Kaya's gear, just, you know, more shenanigans to grind, more reason to try and get resources and waste resources. So I want to say that's about everything as far as in-game. I might have missed stuff. I do apologize if things were jumbling around, whatnot. We'll get into the patch notes now. So I'm just rearranging my screen a bit. So yeah, here's the actual patch notes that are coming out. I know I said I wasn't going to cover patch notes, but I decided that since it's really once a month, if that, and this is like a sub patch note, and I'm getting back into content creation, I might as well cover it. I should be able to do it. Don't expect every patch notes to drop like this one, where I can do it just right on the head. Usually I might not be able to with everything I got going on. But I do want to cover this because we're in this patch note that's getting released. You know, after this video releases, the maintenance, I figured I was up, I'd just do it. They're just doing a class balance, which is kind of nice. I'm glad that they're doing this. They've done it quite a bit, and you can go read the other patch notes to get other class balances. But Warrior's getting a buff, and the fact that they're reducing Scythe's cooldown, increasing its power by a good bit. Aerial Scythe is also getting a damage boost, which I'm happy about because Warrior's my baby. Slayers, your swift linkage is getting a reduce in effect duration, but they're increasing the skill damage bonus from it at least. Savage Strike, they are reducing the base attack duration. So kind of a balance for Slayers. Reapers are getting a buff in general. That Sundering Strike is getting increased power by 20%. Sundering, I think from what I understand now, is actually going to start hitting really hard, at least when the boss is under like 50%. Just due to the blood loss, that's probably going to make a lot of fat Sunders for Reaper, from what I've at least heard. Your Dark Leap is going from a 6-second to 8-second attack duration, or a reduced back attack duration. So I guess I'm thinking that's Shroud and they're making it last 8 seconds. I'm not exactly sure what they mean by Dark Leap. I do apologize, it's been a while. Lancer, your shield counter, they're increasing the power by 80%. Adrenaline Rush, they're increasing the amount of aggro you can acquire from 20 to 30%, which is really good because tanks, ever since the damage change, which I'll cover after this, is kind of wild. Brawlers, your Rampage, the increase of anger consumption. I don't know why no one uses Rampage. Just not necessary. But overall, Brawlers are getting a fat buff with 130 increased power, which is so much needed for Brawler, just because of the changes. And they're fixing some bugs that honestly I don't care to cover because they don't fix any bugs in my opinion. They're just trash at fixing bugs. So at this point, if you don't know, Terra's had a major shift in its power system. They basically removed all power cap, and they've changed the way power works in the game, that when something says it gives you 6% damage, it gives you a flat 6% damage now. If something gives you 14% damage, it gives you a flat 14% damage. So a lot of classes have just spiked with power. A lot of DPS are hitting crazy numbers. Boss fights aren't short like they used to be. They're still a bit longer due to the fact that they've increased the boss healths. So they have actually done quite a bit of balancing since I've been gone. But I don't know, all the issues with the game as far as like the stuff that they really need to work on, they're not doing, in my opinion. So I'm glad to see the changes that have been being made are made, but it's still, in my opinion, not the right changes. And I'll kind of go over that in a future video after I play a bit more and get a bit adjusted back to the game. But overall, the game needs a lot more love and attention than what the devs are giving it. Again, this is a decent start, but as always, they're never going to capitalize on it from what I can tell. I mean, I'll be curious to see if this even fixes the issue, because tanks are really just losing power. Cards are kind of an issue. Cards have become the new stigmas, but worse. The grind for cards is a little ridiculous for the pay to win aspect, and I just don't like it. But it is what it is. So that's about everything. That covers everything. If you enjoyed, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want me to cover any of these topics more in depth, please let me know and I'll make a video about each separate topic, whether if you want a guide for gem synthesis, if you want a guide for runes, if you want a guide for the accessory crystals. Ideally, this kind of just covers all of that in short. There really isn't really that much for me to content create on all this stuff, so that's why I figured I'd just put it all together, and hopefully later this month we'll get an actual patch. There's been a rumor that we're getting an actual patch, but we'll see. So that's about it. I hope you all enjoyed, and yeah, see y'all.